It is now in order to consider amendment number 30, printed in Part B of House Report 118-269.
What might that be, one might ask? Well, let me just tell you right now, they are watching us like a hawk over here. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's good to see you today on the Speak and See Show. Like, subscribe, and click that notification button so when I get information out, you can get information in. And can somebody say, hey, we still want our 10K?
Yeah.
Somebody say, hey, we want our 10K.
Yeah.
Hey, we want our 10K. EIDL loans, do you got one? Are you under 100K? Well, you know about the SBA kind of not coming after the under 100K? Republicans are going after you. Democrats are kind of saying it's okay to come after you. But I'm going to let you see this video. This is major breaking update for EIDL loan borrowers under 100K. And just to let you know, just to keep you up to date on this video, this happened today in Congress. Today is the 8th of November, 2023. And after you hear it straight from the horse's mouth, which is what you're going to hear right now, I will try to boil it down and break it down for you and what it actually means for you. Here's what they said. Like and subscribe.
It is now in order to consider amendment number 30, printed in Part B of House Report 118-269. For what purpose does the gentleman from Arizona seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 30, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-269, offered by Mr. Schweikert of Arizona.
Pursuant to House Resolution 847, a gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Schweikert, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. To my friend and colleague from Arizona and to the ranking member, what we're pursuing here is, during the pandemic, we all remember the E.I.D.L loans. We have some documents that say there may be as much as $62 billion in impairment. And understand there's a difference between impairment and delinquency, behind those. We actually have an intense concern on some of the articles and other things that have come to our attention that collection, and look, this is never a happy conversation when you're talking about going out and collecting loans, but this is money that is owed to the hardworking taxpayers. It's only fair. We made a deal.
You don't know how bad I want to interrupt this man right now. But I won't. We'll let it play out. Sorry for interrupting.
That is owed to the hardworking taxpayers. It's only fair. We made a deal. We actually believe if we take the mean of some of the reports we've been best able to get, there's about $33 billion that is ready for functionally some type of hard collection. They're substantially delinquent. We're here fighting over dollars. We're fighting over pennies sometimes. If there's billions of dollars out there that are owed back to the Small Business Administration, those things, we have the legal obligation to go collect. That's the deal. And the amendment here is trying to move away from an article here from the Washington Post that was basically saying the Small Business Administration had either slowed down or stopped pursuing collections. Let's go collect the money as we are, lifting every seat cushion around here trying to find resources. There's a stack of resources here. The other thing it also would help us understand is how much fraud ultimately there was in the program. And without the collection efforts, you actually cannot truly document those numbers. And with that, I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Maryland.
Claim time in opposition.
Gentleman's recognized.
I'm really not going to get too much into opposition, but I would make an observation and understand what the gentleman's saying. The IRS says there's $688 billion. Not chump change, not behind the sofa cushion, $688 billion. And they say if they have the resources, they can collect a large sum of that, which is really what the gentleman's looking to do in this amendment with this agency. But this bill provides for a 23% cut in enforcement on monies that are due and owing under the current law to the government of the United States. And the gentleman and previous speakers have said how concerned they are with the deficit. I would think that, again, and I use the collection department of a corporation as the example, you'd want to collect that money. And if the principle that you espouse is a good one, and I frankly think it is, that we ought to apply that to that $688 billion, $688 billion, which would have a substantial impact on collections. Let's say we just collected a third of that. That would be more money than all of these cuts combined in perhaps all of these bills. And I find it confusing and contradictory that you want to collect these debts, which, of course, the agency says would cost more to collect than would be collected. That's their position. Whether that's true or not, I'm not arguing that, but that's their position as I understand it. In the case of the $688 billion, what essentially, particularly if you're at the upper end, $1 of expenditure for $12 of revenue. Frankly, at the lower end, that's much less, $1 to maybe 167 or 87. So a relatively small return on the investment, but a big return on the bigger taxpayers, whether they're corporate or individual. So I think the principle that you enunciate is a good one. I would hope you would pursue it in talking about the IRS's ability to oversee very complicated, very lengthy returns that have resources that are not very transparent and are from sources that aren't withdrawn, because that might, in fact, help us get to where you want to get in reducing that debt. And I reserve the balance of my time.
First gentleman from Arizona.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, may I inquire into time left?
The gentleman has 3 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. To my friend from Maryland, actually, you'll be happy to know you actually accepted in block 2 of my amendments because I am blessed to chair oversight in Ways and Means. And within there is the use of technology. Because as we've actually had to deal with the reality, if you actually are reading some of the reports coming from our from the IRS, they can't seem to hire the people to do the audits. That apparently there's a shortage of people with accounting and that type of talent. So we brought actually 2 amendments, both were made into the block, so I appreciate that, to actually go and use AI and technology to talk about exactly what the gentleman from Maryland, and I actually believe in many ways that's a much more ethical and moral, because I can audit an algorithm. I can't audit someone's heart or their personal politics. And so we actually have demonstrations also on the customer service sides, the use of chat AI and those things. But that's the IRS. We're here talking the Small Business Administration. And I'm just trying to be intellectually consistent. We did our amendments there to pursue in a rational using of technology. But if it's true, there may be, according to this article, estimated $62 billion in past due pandemic loans. If it costs more than $62 billion for the Small Business Administration to go collect $62 billion, the world has come to an end. I mean, let's be intellectually consistent here. We have the legal obligation, this agency has the legal obligation to collect these loans. And my fear is there may have been so much fraud that there's almost this discomfort of peeling back the onion and saying a third of the book, 20% of the book, what is it, is actually, will never be performing loans. Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, to my friend from Maryland, this is actually just moving some money around so the Small Business Administration does what they're actually supposed to be doing and what's actually already part of the law. We're just now actually moving some resources so it can be accomplished. And with that, I yield back, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman yields. Gentleman from Maryland.
I yield.
Gentleman yields. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Arizona. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.
So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The text of the bill that was just amended has just given increases and decreases funding for the Small Business Administration Office of the Inspector General, where by $1 million to provide Congress a report on the estimated fiscal impact of selling off delinquent loans within the COVID-19 portfolio to third parties and cost-benefit analysis of not pursuing aggressive loan recollection efforts to recoup the estimated $33.4 billion in either past due, delinquent, or liquidation or charged-off EIDL loans. So here's $1 million to give us an analysis on whether or not to aggressively pursue these. In a nutshell, what we just witnessed there happened today. If you're watching this on the 8th of November, what we witnessed was the Republicans saying we want to go after the $30 billion, actually $62 billion. But what the Democrat was saying is, look, there's $630 or $640 billion. Take out the $60 billion there. Now you got over $600 billion that we can go after first, and then we'll go after the $60 billion, which the Democrat was saying, I'm with you. I want to go collect that too, but first let's go get the big money. So they're allocating money now, which nobody objected. Well, you heard one person say, no. You heard that last final clap. The motion has been, the amendment has been put in. And the big story is Isabel Guzman of the SBA is still holding her ground with the under 100,000, holding back the Congress right now with one arm. The Democrats aren't pushing it, but the Republicans are pushing it. But the Democrats aren't against it. And what we have now is lollygagging until one of them gets into office. Then the other one will push it around. It's the fraud, it's the fraud, it's the fraud. Small businesses are just a bunch of frauds, apparently, is what they're trying to say. But anyway, let me know what you guys think out there. Do you agree with them going after 100,000 along with the big numbers, or just if they should they start from the top and work their way down, which is what they're doing? And let me know how you feel about this. You guys have been asking for updates. I figured I'd step out here and give you guys one, and here you go. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you got something out of it. May God bless and prosper all your family and all your small businesses. And can somebody say, hey, we do still want our 10K.